I know you can hear me now, but you couldn't hear me before that, could you? All right, well, yeah, no sound, right, but you've got it now. That's going to be a problem. I've been having issues with the wireless today, and both of the things I wanted to show you are in different parts of the studio requiring a microphone. How irritating is this? But you can hear me now, yes? No, apparently. So I'm going to wait until Alistair gives me a thumbs up, and then we'll... Yeah, sound is on now. Okay, good. Thank you, Alistair. The problem is bizarre because it works fine when I'm setting it up and practicing with it, and it seems to work just great. And then when I go live, it goes to sleep. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm getting messages on the phone, so presumably other people are concerned about the no noise thing. We'll figure it out as we go. This weekend is a Pazoom weekend. We have a Pazoom first thing on Saturday. Well, first thing for me, 10 o'clock in the morning, probably halfway through your day. But we have a Pazoom, and I had forgotten what I was going to be talking about, and I've still forgotten because my notes from the other day have been misplaced, but it's a good one. It'll come to me, and I'll tell you about it in just a little bit. A Pazoom is a private, secret, cabal type gathering of the Patreon supporters and my other supporters who get invited as well. And we just get together for 2 hours every other Saturday, and we talk about macro photography and things related. And it's a great fun couple of hours. We seem to have a good time. And a good question has just come in. When am I going to be posting the links to the Pazoom and Tangent from last week? There was an issue with that. I had already posted them, actually, but apparently they didn't go through. I've heard from a couple of people. So I'm going to remedy that. And seeing as they're late getting put up, I'll leave them up. I'll actually download them, upload them to YouTube and post them as a video so they're there forever, as opposed to just the normal 3 weeks. So I'll get that done today, Bacon Meister. I'm sorry about the delay. All my fault, I'm sure. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm quite convinced I did something wrong. It's frustrating, but yes, it will happen today. And Azam is asking me a question. If I could share one piece of advice for someone aspiring to improve their macro photography skills, what would it be? I'm only allowed to give you one piece of advice? Watch all my videos. That would be one piece of advice that would pretty much cover everything. I've never thought about it in those terms. If there was one thing that I would have you, one skill that I would have you concentrate on to improve your. Let me think about that, because that is a loaded question. There isn't, of course, one skill. There are many complementary skills that work together to make you a better macro photographer. And a lot of it is the same stuff you need to be a good anything photographer. But the attention to detail is what gets most people in macro. There is much less wiggle room in macro photography than there is in just pick a genre in landscape or urban city type photography. There's so much less opportunity, fewer places for you to hide, because the pictures tend to be down to the level of pixels, and if you're not doing it right, you can see it. And there's just no way to get around it. So attention to detail and paying attention to the basics is probably where it begins. I mean, unlike other areas of photography, I think in macro photography you need to understand why things do what they do. You need to understand why a reversed prime lens works as a macro lens. You need to understand what a macro lens is. If you don't understand the basic principles behind it, you run into problems when you discover that certain lens combinations won't allow you to focus at infinity, for example, which can be a creative problem if you're trying to use the lens for something other than close-up. So understanding the basic principles of what makes macro photography different from any other kind of photography is where it all begins. And I strongly urge you to get a good background in that. We've covered all of these topics on many occasions, and there are several pretty decent videos, I think, that sum it all up. And all kidding aside, I would urge you to go back and look at some of those basic ones. But you know, the most important thing that you can do is what you just did, is stick your hand up and say, no, I don't understand that. Could you explain that in more detail? It's asking the questions. You ask the questions, I'll come up with the answers, and between us, we'll get you better and where you're trying to get to. You've got to ask for help. You're part of a very exciting and helpful resource. The group of people that you're associating with over here and on Patreon or the Discord group, all of these people are good macro photographers. They've been around for a long time. They've been doing this for as long as I have. And there are so many people that you can talk to about this. So I urge you to use the community and ask your friends out there for help if there's something you're not understanding, and of course ask me for help. That's the only reason I'm here. There's no other purpose for this other than to try my patience sometimes with the technology. But I mean, yeah, it's why I'm here, and it's why everybody else comes here, is because we get ideas from one another and learn how to do this better. That's what I was going to talk about today. Was two different things, two different topics. That one was going to be on Tuesday, and I couldn't do it because of a problem with the remote, and then the other one was for today, and they're both dealing with opportunities or problems, you might say, that come up in the course of doing macro photography. The first one is, what do you do when you have a bug that you just paid $4.50 for, and it was shipped to you from the Czech Republic, and it's been sat on and it's just squished? What do you do with that? Do you send it back? Do you throw it away? Do you try to photograph it? My philosophy is there's no point sending it back. It'll take 2 months, and you'll probably get another squashed bug back. So generally speaking, I try to salvage all of the bugs that I purchase. Sometimes they come decapitated and you have to glue their head back on, things like that. But today I have a particularly perplexing issue. It's not the one on the cover that I was going to talk about. That was a fairly basic one. We talked some about this guy last week gluing his feet back on. No, that was a weevil. But today I came across a problem with a carpenter bee, and I want to share it with you. I want to show you what I found and see what you would do, and show you what I did. And I won't be able to show you the stacked pictures because I ran out of time, but I'll show you individual frames that'll give you some idea of how successfully you can overcome even major problems with purchased specimens. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was something very different for us, and that is there are lots and lots of times in the course of the day that I may need a still photograph. Either it's to go with the video that I'm making, or it's to go with a live stream. If I'm going to be talking about a particular subject, I'll want still pictures. And it used to be, and I talked about this a little bit on Tuesday, but it used to be I would plan all that out at the beginning, and I'd have a shot list, and I'd take all of the photographs I thought I was going to need, then I'd use some of them and not use others, and then need to get more. So I changed the way I do it. Now what I do is I make a video, like this week I put the last few scenes together on the Laowa 100, the macro cine lens, and when I'm finished, I then take the still photographs, but I don't do it like I used to. I don't set it up as a major studio shoot. I just do it with what I have at hand, which is usually my video stuff. And I am always surprised and pleased by how good those pictures come out. And I wanted to share with you today my technique for grabbing these photographs, because there are countless times when you might need to do the same. If you're selling a piece of equipment and you want to stick it on eBay or on the Facebook marketplace, something like that, you know that pictures make all the difference when you're trying to sell something. The better the picture, the sooner you're going to sell it and the higher the price you're going to get. There's just no two ways about it. Try selling something without a picture, and you'll quickly see what I'm talking about. So when you're doing that, you want the picture to be as good as you possibly can. You want it to be professional looking. And I'm going to show you just a handful of tricks to get professional looking pictures that just don't take professional amounts of time to do. I literally do it on the way past the table. And I'm going to show you how I did that for this Laowa video that's coming up, because there were a couple of the pictures that I thought were particularly pleasing, and I'll show them to you now so you can be thinking about them as we get ready to start that part. Let me find out what I did with them. I'm going to here they are. I'm going to put the other screen on here in just a second. Let me get a picture. I'm going to start out with one of the ones that that I'm going to probably use. Let me see. Now I seem to have somehow covered up the important part of my... There we go. Now, are you hearing me now? This will be an interesting question. It appears that my microphone, wireless microphone, is now working. Can you tell me if you can hear me there, Alistair? And I was just reminded while I'm waiting to get a thumbs up on the sound. Joseph is disagreeing with me, but you know what? I'm going to ignore that for just a second while I get a sound check here. Can you hear me? Sound is okay. A little distorted. Okay, that's because probably the way I'm wearing the microphone. Okay, so we'll go with that for right now. That's good to know because we're going to need this microphone in just a second. So here's one of the pictures. It's not anything special, but it also didn't take 5 minutes to do. It didn't take 2 minutes to do. I wanted to photograph the entrance and exit pupils of the lens. That also just was the work of a couple of moments. And then I just wanted some atmospheric pictures, stuff that I could use to maybe put a title over. And this was one of the pictures I came up with, a nice white background. And normally, to get a shot like this that's of sufficient quality to use for actual commercial purposes, it's a big setup. It's a lot of trouble to do. But these were not. These just were a moment's work. And I'm going to show you how you can get pictures like this with very little effort and very little equipment. In fact, with just the same stuff you would use for your video. Let me see. I think there were a couple of others that I wanted to show you. Hang on. There we go. That's not one of them, but this one was. I love that for a title slide. It's very subtle. Lots of space for me to put the title and what have you. Something like this. this was probably my favorite of the lot right here. That it's got more dark than it does subject, but it's perfect for putting a title over. And so this is the kind of thing I wanted to show you how I do it, and how it's just a few minutes work, and an easy thing to do. And I'll show you my setup in just a second. In fact, we're going to actually, with a little bit of luck, we'll be looking through the camera that actually is going to be taking the pictures. Nope, we're not. It sounded like a good idea. That's the microscope. We will be looking through that. Setup is, no, that's the cell phone. We'll use that. That'll be fine. So what we'll do is, while I've got actually several parts of this working, and the wireless mic appears to be working here too, this is my, let me see if I've got this working the right way. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is the camera we're going to use. Let me put it in a holder so that I can clamp it onto something. Well, I'll just hold it. All right, so here's the setup, and yep, it looks like we still have sound, so that's good. I imagine somebody will let me know if we don't for any reason. So here is the setup that I use. I'm going to back way off to see all of this. Yeah, okay. So what I'm doing is I had this set up on one of the tables back where the studio is, and what I'll do is, there we go, that's a little bit better. I'll set up whatever it is I'm photographing on a block of cork, and I'll use my DSLR, my D850, with usually either a macro lens or a 24-70, and I'll just plan on using natural light or my studio LED panels, and only using 2 lights, not using flash, not doing anything fancy, and going with whatever settings I need to go with in order to get nice, clear pictures with plenty of light. And the way I do that is just with controlling the shutter. So I'll use my settings, and I'll put them wherever I need them. Like, I may well shoot at, say a 20th of a second maybe. Yeah. There you go, at an ISO of 125 at f5, will give you just all, whoops, not showing it to you, will give you plenty of light. And these are all single shot focus shots. So what I'll do is I'll use the very simple prop of a block of cork to position my lens or camera, or whatever it is I'm photographing. I'm going to find a stand for this so that I can use 2 hands. Hold on just a second. This is starting to seem like less of a good idea than it did earlier. Let me see if this is going to work. No. No, I'll keep holding it. So the idea is that, let me see if there's a way I can, all right. You'll notice I have a white base and a black backdrop, and I'm normally in a dark room, so I am either adding light from the panel or there is no light, so I get lots of deep shadows. And what I'll do is I'll either use the white as my background and the black as the base, or the other way around. And depending on where I put the camera, low down or high up, I can have a contrasting background, or I can have a solid black background. or a solid white background very quickly and very easily without having to do much of anything else. And I control my exposure with the shutter speed and my depth of field, of course, with the aperture, but I'm not trying to get the whole thing in focus. I'm just trying to get a photograph that demonstrates what it is I'm trying to show. Like in this case, there were several times I just wanted to show the various markings that were available on the lens. So what I would do is I know I'm getting a lot of beeps from the phone, which I actually strangely can't look at while I'm doing this because it's one or the other. So yeah, so let me do that. Let me check what these messages are, because this is too frustrating to not know what I'm told is not working. Let me see. Alrighty. Oh, you're getting ideas, getting seasick. Okay, all right. Enough of that. Back to solid ground. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, guys. That's not gonna work. The things I wanted to show you are all about camera position, and yeah, we're gonna abort that for the time being, and I'll probably just do it in a video. I am shooting some video this afternoon, and I have the other system all set up to go, which is why I'm running out of cameras. Let me see if I can show you. Let me show you what the setup is for this afternoon, just so as you know. No, I've forgotten what camera I was on. I think it was. Let's move on to, let's talk about the competition for just a second. The video competition is at an end tonight. Is it tonight? Is this the last day of February? Oh my goodness. This is the day my rent is due. I'm going to make a note to self on that, because I'd forgotten this month ran out rather fast. So yeah, this is it. If you don't have a video yet, boy, you better get cracking. It's due tonight at midnight. Now, there's a very good chance that I won't get to see the videos and judge them today. In fact, I'd say it's more than just a good chance. It's an absolute certainty that won't happen. That means that over the next day or two, I will probably start going through them. And it's one of the things that I'm probably going to do on Saturday at the Presume, is do a little bit of public judging. If that's of interest to you, come along and we'll look at some videos and you guys can help me judge them. And that will be for January and February. The competition is the videos. Then I want some help in coming up with something better for March. I asked on Tuesday, got some good ideas, didn't decide on one, so it's your turn. If you have any ideas for the March competition, tell me now, and we'll decide now. And it was going to be computer chips, and I'm fine doing computer chips, but it occurred to me that a lot of people don't know how to decap them, and it's not a very safe thing to do anyway. So I'm still happy doing that if you guys want to. I always like looking at computer chips or computer components, but if you have a better idea, I'm all for it. So let's see what these suggestions were that came in. We have Russ. Do I ever use drops of diluted ammonia to replenish insect eyes? No, I do use ammonia to treat eyes, not exactly to replenish them. I mean, they pretty much start out with 2 and they finish up with 2. I prefer Decon because of the fact that it has multiple actions. Ammonia, which is a fairly powerful caustic agent, has a tendency to damage the eye. If it's left on for even a dilute solution for any period of time, it can cause more problems than it fixes. It is good for certain kinds of hazy eyes, and I have used it, and usually it's one of the last things I'll use if nothing else has worked. But the reason that I like what do you call it? Contact lens cleaner and Decon 90 over straight ammonia is that they both are a little bit more, they're pH balanced. So you're not putting a caustic agent on like you are when you use ammonia. But the benefits of using Decon 90, Decon 90 is a decontamination fluid. It's what they hosed me down with after I came out of the room at at Chernobyl. They spray you down with that and scrub you, and the liquid is full of surface acting agents that will form a barrier around the radioactive particles and allow them to be washed off. It's like think of it as a super powerful detergent. And it has a lot of different components in it that all contribute to doing a very good job of removing particles of contaminant. Now, you can see why that would work really well on grimy, grungy insect eyes, because it will get in there and it will treat the particles, it'll lift them up off the surface of the eye and flush them away with water. And because it's pH balanced, it's not as caustic as ammonia by itself would be. The other benefit is it also contains a mild detergent as well as something that a defatting agent. It's this is a bit technical, but it contains molecules that have a polarity that at one end favors fatty material and the other end favors water. And these things will glom onto a piece of fat or oil, a contaminant that's oil-based, and it'll wall it off from the rest of the material, and it'll float free as what's called a micelle. So this particular quality of Decon 90 is really valuable if you have a greasy, dirty insect. So ammonia, yes, it will revitalize eyes up to a point. If you get it on and get it off again quickly, then it can have a benefit there. But honestly, I think you get a better effect from the Decon. And the reason to add the contact lens cleaning solution is most of them also contain a proteolytic enzyme, which is a chemical that breaks down protein and makes it soluble. So when the material that is staining or discoloring your bug is protein in origin, these enzymes will help break that up and lift it off. So you can really get a broad range of action. Again, with the ammonia, you're getting one reaction, and that is a caustic scrubbing of the surface. So it's not a bad thing to try on eyes, but it's not going to be as useful in as many cases as the Decon will. That was all I had on that. Let me see. Macro food items. Julie, that's a great idea. I think we did edible about, it's probably 2 years ago now. I'd have to look, but that was a fun competition. There were a lot of things that were put in that competition that I would not eat, though. But that's, I guess, a personal problem. I'll think about that one. We'll put it on the list. David Brown says, Alan, contact lens cleaning solution or saline solution for cleaning eyes? No, I'm talking about the one that you put your contact lenses in overnight. I don't have any contact lenses. Maybe I ought to get some. I don't know. But I'm half blind. But the the contact lens solution for cleaning the pieces of glass themselves. That's what I'm talking about. The other stuff for cleaning your eyeballs, I think, is just saline. And that is perfectly good to use for cleaning your insects, but it doesn't have the enzymes in it. And that's what I'm talking about, the more aggressive cleaner. And let me see. Phil was getting seasick. Phil, are you feeling a little bit better? Did you get some... put one of those things on your wrist. That helps enormously with motion sickness, I've found. It's a marble that presses against some acupuncture point. I'm not kidding. I'm dead serious. Apparently it makes a difference. But contest idea. Celebration of spring. Emily, you and I think alike. That was exactly what I was telling a friend we ought to do. Some type of celebration of spring. Except I happen to know that for many of my viewers who live in places like Norway, they don't have spring until like October. So they might think we're just having a mean joke on them. But I like that idea. I like the idea of the renewal kind of thing for spring, and it does give you a lot of leeway to come up with things that you think speak of spring. I'll think about that one too. Sounds a little muffled when I was at the photo stage area. Yes, I've given up on that altogether. That's yeah. I'll come up with a better solution. I don't know what it is. I didn't start early enough. I started getting ready for this at 5 o'clock this morning. Clearly I need to just stay up the night before. We're going to go over to the microscope in a minute, and hopefully the sound will be better over there. Let me see. Contest idea. Fibers, metal, fiber optics, natural fibers of all kinds. I like that. I like that. That does open a lot of doors, doesn't it? If fibers is the actual subject, that could be a lot of different things. It's going to result in a lot of abstracts, which I happen to like, but let me think about it. I'm so far I'm most leaning towards the whole idea of spring, and whatever it is that, maybe fibers are a spring thing for you. So there's ways you could work all kinds of things in there. Let me think about it as we go through the rest of the program. What else was I going to tell you about this weekend? There's no tangent this weekend. We had one 2 weeks ago, and we'll have one in 2 more weeks, but there is no tangent this week. Let me see. What was the other announcement I had was we're doing a bug month in the month of May, which, believe it or not, is soon. I mean, it's just after March is over, and then April, and then we have May. So it's 2 months from now, 8 weeks, it'll be gone like that. But that's going to be fun. We're going to have a very comprehensive insect couple of months probably. But we're going to start today with a little foretaste of that. I know we talked about fixing a broken foot last week when we were looking at a weevil that had some damage inflicted by me. This was not damage inflicted by me. This was a fly that, a bee that came to me in my package from the Insect Trade EU, one of my favorite companies to deal with. And I'll be honest, because I mean there would be no point doing it if I wasn't. I wasn't not happy with this last order. I was very happy with the order that came in when I ordered for the large group. There were a lot of beautiful insects in that order, and there were relatively few damaged ones. The one I got to replace it, for having accidentally given away my bugs, I ordered replacements, and honestly, half of them have been broken. I mean, badly damaged when getting them unpacked. I normally would expect about 10% to have some injury, be it just a tip of an antenna or a foot come loose. But I mean, these were some major problems with heads and thoraxes being disconnected. Some of which were almost to the point of not being able to use them really for anything. Which raises one interesting question before we get back there and look at the damage to this particular bee. When would you consider it worthwhile to send back an order or to contact a seller about an order? I know that some people take this stuff very seriously, and if they get one bad bug, they want their money back. Or they want the bug replaced, what have you. I think that's probably a little bit overkill. I mean, I don't think that part of their business model is to send you some bad bugs as well to trim their costs or what have you. I think it's just damage in shipping, and you just have to expect that there's going to be some. These are incredibly delicate things, and they pack them pretty darn well. This is an example, though, of where I probably will let them know. I mean, I am a pretty good customer, and they probably need to know that there were a lot of problems with this particular order, and I had to send half of the order on to a friend whose order I misplaced. It's a long story, don't get me started. But I'm afraid that some of his bugs may also have injuries that I didn't see because I didn't open the packets. But we're going to see one of these insects. It's a carpenter bee from the Andes in South America. It's a beautiful bee. I'm not familiar with the genus. Like all carpenter bees, it's a flattened bee anyway, so it's hard to make the thing look really three-dimensional and active. They're very hard to pose for a flying shot, but that's what I wanted to do on this particular guy, because he's all black, and the only way I was going to get any relief from the flat pancake-like shape of the thing was going to be to give it some flight dynamics, some raised wings and some lowered undercarriage, maybe an angle of a turn, and to get that kind of active look, I needed an intact bee. But the first thing I noticed when I got him out of the packet was that there was something wrong with his back, and there was something wrong with his right wing. Let's go over to the microscope and I'll show you what I was talking about. Now, you need to let me know if you can still hear me. Alistair, please, if you don't mind. I'm going to get this guy positioned while I'm waiting to hear from you. And I'm going to get some more light in here. Alright. That's still not really enough, is it? Let's see, that's looking a little bit better. What I do when I'm positioning these things to show you what I'm seeing, I like to put them on a flat, sticky surface so I can use my blue tack to hold them in position pretty well, and that tends to raise the whole platform up just a little bit. But there we go, I think that's looking pretty decent. Let me just have a quick look at the screen, see if you can hear me. And sound is low but okay. Well, maybe I'll try speaking up just a bit. Or maybe that would be a bit risky. Yeah, I think I'll speak up a little bit. Okay, good. So at first blush, this guy probably looks fairly okay. he's clean because he wasn't when I got him. I had to very thoroughly clean this guy. And what is the problem, you're wondering? He looks fine. Well, if you look at the thorax, we're going to zoom in and I'm going to try to get some more light in there. Oh, whoops, I just whacked that light right on him. Okay. There, that's better. Now that really shows the problem beautifully. If you look in the center of the thorax, where the right wing is joined, let me try to get that. I need more light on that. Yep. Bear with me. All right. That is okay. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. I got the message just as I was changing it over. Thanks, Alistair. Sorry for not answering the phone. Okay, so let me see if I can get some more light in here. This is always a bit tough. I had a great picture when it was. Let me get another light in here. All right, I've got there. Take just a second to get it all set up, but when I do, you'll see what I'm trying to show you. We'll zoom out on the magnification a bit. Nice bee though, you've got to admit. Let me try closing down the aperture a little bit. Opening it up, I mean. Alright, now, if you look in the center of the thorax, right where, dead center of the screen right now, you'll notice there is a deep crack across it. I'll point it out to you. It's right there. That's not normal. That is actually where the bee has been squashed. And I mean completely squashed. Looks almost like he was trodden upon. And as you look more carefully, you'll see that the damage goes right the way through the thorax and almost separates the body. This was rated as an A1 specimen, which is pushing to the very limits what an A1 should be. An A1 should be no visible defects, but this thing was badly crushed. Looking at it from the underside, you can see the extent of the damage is even more widespread, and the thorax is separated above and below. It's a little hard to see with the pin in him, sorry about that, but it is a nice view of the underside. They're more colourful on the underside than they are from the top. Yeah, pretty big. Greens and yellows. Let's go back to the top though, because that's the real issue. When I was trying to pose the wings, I couldn't help but notice the right wing was splaying off to one side, just flapping loose in the breeze really. And also my thoracic pin would not hold, even with a little bit of glue on it. The bee would wobble side to side. Well, it's because there is actually no thorax left. There is only the exoskeleton overlying the thorax, and the soft tissues from inside the thorax are gone, probably squished out, so there's nothing to really hold the pin. And there are, I'm sure, people who would use some taxidermy strategies to fill this void up with a little ball of cotton or something like that. I couldn't be bothered to do that. What instead I did was put a tiny pellet of blue tack underneath the flap, just enough to hold the pin with some glue in it, which is the pin that is now holding him. And then the idea became not repairing the hole in the thorax, but simply shooting the bee so that you never see the hole in the thorax. And to do that, what I did was I elevated the larger portion of the thorax, which is the front part, elevated it up by pushing my ball of blue tack, where is he? By pushing the ball of blue tack further towards the head, right where that bulge is, right there. Push the blue tack up to there and then put the pin into the blue tack from below. The end result was that I ended up with a quasi-stable bug, at least stable enough to give a proper thorough cleaning to. And he required a soak in decon as well as a good brushing and combing of all of his hair, and finally a period of just sitting and drying so that everything would solidify. And I'm very happy with him. The limb positions are fantastic for a landing bee. They look great. The undercarriage came down just fine, and the appendages are intact. I obviously need to get that yellow abdomen. Let me see if I can find it for you from the side. The yellow abdomen is the most striking feature of this guy. You can see the gold there just on the horizon, lovely. So I definitely need that tuft of primrose yellow hair, and that's going to be tough, because to shoot that we're going to have to shoot the damage to the thorax unless I have that out of focus. Haven't decided how I'm going to deal with that yet, but certainly from above, the way that it turned out that you could shoot him and get all of the exciting parts, his mean looking little eyes and both wing roots, is to shoot at this angle. Let me see if I can get it in focus. The angle that I want to shoot him at is actually slightly from below, looking up. Okay, I'll get it in focus in a second and you'll see what I'm saying. Right, there we go. So we are underneath. Let me see if I can get some of this light more directly on him. This is tough to do. Let me back off a little, see if that'll help. That's getting close to what I want. It's by shooting from below, we're putting the thorax behind the head in a way that we get to see all the lovely head details and the antennae on both sides, the wings and the undercarriage down for landing, and the mouth parts. But when it comes to the thorax, we've just tucked that away out of sight so you can't see the damage in it. And yeah, that's how I photographed him the first time, was from this angle, and then turned him a little bit more facing the camera. But in both instances, used the shape of the bee to hide the damage, and then used whatever filler material I had on hand to hold the thorax open so it didn't look quite so squished. I'm going to show you a couple of the individual slices in just a second to show you how they came out, because I'm very happy with them. I think they're going to stack great. And yeah, and then we can look at them later, maybe on Tuesday. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful bee. And the eyes, when it came out of the packet, were milky white and hopeless. Just not going to be any good at all to photograph. That's after 2 minutes in decon. Completely restored that lovely greenish glow to them, even though they're hollow now. The contents are pulled away from the lenses, but still a beautiful bee, stunning. So that's one of the ways that you can do it. I mean, what I do for any insect, especially an unfamiliar one like this, is I'll spend enough time over at the microscope looking at it from every angle to decide, what do I really want you to see? What is it about this bug that I want you to focus on? And I just make sure that those things are the most prominent things in the image that I take. In this case, I want to show you this gorgeous yellow patch on the ventral abdomen, and the beautiful green shiny eyes to complement that. It would be great to get both of them in the same shot, which shouldn't be too hard to do with a lateral banking view. But yeah, so this is how I go about dealing with a bug that otherwise looks like it's destined for the rubbish bin. I never throw them away. Some of the best pictures I have in my portfolio were destined for the rubbish bin, and I decided to just give them a try. You can start to see, that's his back. You can start to see how beautiful and rich these colours are. It's not actually a black bee at all. It's more of a forest green and yellow bee. But yeah, it's a beauty. I wish I could give you the genus and species name, but it was part of a scientific lot, so it doesn't have a name. But it is a stunner. There you go, that's a better picture. Pretty bee. You know, I have a mirror that I got for this very purpose, was to be able to demonstrate stuff that maybe you couldn't otherwise see or bounce light in, and I should be using it. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Let me see if there's a way to bounce some of that light right back in and show you the greens. There we go. It is a pretty looking fellow, and let me get some good light on and then zoom in and see if I can show you that color at magnification. Very convincingly green with this extra light on it. And look at these eyes. These eyes are quite spectacular. Yeah, beautiful. Even the tiny little ocelli are green. It's a stunner, is it not? This is my first view of this beetle in all its glory. I'm just now noticing that the hair on the lower tarsi are also yellow. Like he's got yellow booties on. Very nice. I will definitely get this guy back to the studio this afternoon and get a couple more shots. Look at those eyes. Spectacular. Yeah, I'm liking it. This is the problem now, you see. I will have a hard time tearing myself away from looking at the beast under magnification, because you'll just find more and more impressive features to want to photograph. This is a really cool looking bee. I will attempt to discover his brand name today and I'll post it. Look at that. I can hear you oohing and eyeing, which is most appropriate. All right. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bee. Even the mouth parts have got a golden colour to them that I didn't appreciate earlier. Look at that. Yeah. Is that not stunning? Somebody was asking me the other day, what kind of microscope do I need to get to clean insects and to examine them and maybe even photograph them? And it occurred to me that I cannot in all good faith recommend any microscope any more highly than I do this Leica. It's the best for this kind of evaluation of an insect. Best I've ever seen. Beautifully sharp and lovely colour reproduction. Well, I will show you these pictures as soon as they're ready to go, and I think you'll see a lot of pictures of this guy because I think he's gonna show up really well. Okay, let me head back over to the other side of the room. Oh, that actually does look quite good on the screen. I wasn't able to see this. That's quite nice. Yeah. It looks like one of his antennae may have fallen off. I hope that's not the case. Let me have a closer look there. Oh dear, it has, hasn't it? Oh, that's a bummer. I'll have to find that and well, the first thing I'll do is examine him properly under the microscope with the camera off. But you can see the injury that I was talking about, the crack across the back from the bottom right up to the top left-hand corner there, and it's pretty hideous injury. Yeah, it looks like the bulk of his antenna has gone missing. Bummer. That's a shame. Oh well. This is one of the fun parts of doing this with bugs that you're not familiar with new species that you're seeing for the first time. My collection it doesn't consist of very many this time. I've got about half a dozen that have yet to be worked on, and some of them I know already are damaged. But I'll show you what we have. I showed them last week, but there's only a few that you maybe have not seen. But there'll be things to look forward to. Maybe I can do some of these with you if you'd like to see the whole process start to finish. Got a couple of these typhlid wasps, or typhid wasps. I'm not sure if there's an L in it. We have a lot of those here. These are very common at the little park I go to. Lovely looking weevil here. A real classic snout on that fella. Another one of these delta wasps from Vietnam. Probably the most exciting and the most challenging of all of the remaining bugs that I have is this tiger beetle. He is tiny, but he also looks like he's spectacular with his colours. I've got one more carpenter bee that I know is in pieces because I can see he's in pieces, and one more bee mimic. tiny. Ooh, I can't wait to get into these. This is going to be some good stuff. I think unbelievably we're out of time already. I need to come up with a better way of getting the coverage I need to show you the stuff I want to show you, and it's just all down to. I think I'm getting close to as good as I'm going to be able to do it without some help. So yeah, maybe it's time to get some on the ground help during shooting. Just somebody to flip the cameras over. But anyway, we won't belabor that point for now. Let me check real quick, see if there's any other questions before we wrap up for the day. I'm picking up my bugs because I have a bad habit of putting an elbow down right on top of them, and that's the last thing I want to do. Something historical or antique. Angie, how are you doing, my dear? We have not spoken in ages. Yes, I like that idea. Something illustrating a song, a film, or a book. Okay, here's an idea. How about macro book covers? That sounds like fun. It needs to be the photograph with the name of the book or the video or whatever on the front. That will be creatively challenging for people who've never done such a thing. A book cover or a video cover. What do you think? That way you can do it antique or you can do it modern. It depends. You can use the title of the book or the video to clue me in as to what I'm looking at. I think that's a very interesting idea. What do you think? We don't have... No, we're minus 1 minute. I'll get a show of hands on Tuesday. But I'm tempted to do that. Let's do a show of hands right now, just real quick. Anybody who's left, who's still here, raise your hand if it's a yes. If it's a no, don't bother. Just click the like button. If it's a no, do that anyway. But tell Alistair if Alistair's still there that you like that idea of a book cover. And if I get 3 people to say that, that's what we're going to do. A book cover. Yeah. Let me see. Any other questions? Sound low but okay. Yeah, all you saw is the back of the chair, right? But that was a nice back of the chair, though, right? I mean, I prepared it for the video. Yeah. This is one of the things that I need to fix. I need to have a monitor over there so that I can see what you're seeing. You know, when I get the field monitor, that will help. When photographing a subject like the carpenter bee, what step length do you use at 1:1? Great question. It depends on several things, but let's assume that I'm shooting with at the sweet spot for the lens I'm using. Let's say it's 5.6 for the Nikkor 105 that I'm using now. You can get away, and the calculator will show you that probably you can get away at 0.5 millimeter, 0.5 or 500 microns. I probably would shoot it about 5 times denser than that. So I'd probably shoot it at step length of 0.1 millimeter, 100 microns. That is much closer than you need to be, but it completely removes any possibility of getting focus banding, where you have areas of out of focus. It's probably unnecessary. You could get away with 200 or 300 microns, but yeah, that's what I would shoot. In fact, that's what I've been doing all morning, is shooting this particular bee at 100 micron steps. Use the calculator. Use the calculator at the back of Zerine And then you can always shoot more pictures than that, but don't shoot less than that estimate gives you, and you'll be in safe territory. Let me see. Contact lens we talked about. Fibers we talked about. Specifications for buying a compound microscope for photography. That is for a future video. Okay, I was going to say that's a really big question, Graham, but it's Graham, so you know it's a big question. That's why you asked it, and it would make a good video. Yes, thank you. Good suggestion. I will add that to the list. Yeah, let me see. How much overlap between the shots? The textbook answer is 25%, and I'll be honest, I have always felt that to be a bit overkill. It's probably not necessary to have that much overlap. I actually use a static overlap. I don't increase the size of my overlap when my slabs increase in size. If I'm using a 3-image overlap, it's going to be 3 images whether I have 10 slabs or 100 slabs. The overlap I use is less than 10%, and I find that a little bit easier to have a sharper cutoff so that I know which slab I'm retouching from. It's a bit complicated, but that's another thing we could discuss in some length maybe next week. Lots of likes for macro book cover. Okay, that's it. We're doing it. Lots of likes. That's good enough for me. We're going to do for March, which starts tonight at midnight. The competition for March is going to be a book cover using your subject at let's say 1 to 4 or smaller. So a quarter life size. 1 to 4 to as small as you want, but it's got to be at least 1 to 4. So at least 1/4 life size. You'll do better. Your picture will be taken more seriously if you can get it a bit more magnified than that, up to around 1 to 1. So that should be your target. And you can call the book whatever you want. I'll put an example in the announcement that'll come out this afternoon or this evening, and give you an example of what I'm thinking of in my head. It's the cover to a paperback or a hardback book with a bit of artwork that's yours, plus the title. And if you want to get funny or creative, you can come up with an author name as well, if it's not your own. That's good. I'm excited about that. Look forward to seeing that. And those of you who are Patreon supporters, thank you. As always, I appreciate you. And look forward to seeing you on Saturday, when we're going to have some fun. And we're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff, including this competition. So, let me see, there was another question. No, that was it. Yeah, I think we got them all. So what do you think about the back of my chair? You like it? No, you don't need to sit anymore. Okay, fair enough. I will see you guys on Saturday or not, and then next week or not. That goes for all of the times. Expect to see the review of the Macro Cine lens to finally come out this weekend. Just finishing up a last couple of scenes on it, and we'll be good to go. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for coming by. Sorry about the dodgy bit with the tech. You know, it's just the curse, the wall's curse. And I'll see you in a couple of days. Take care, stay safe, and be well. Adios.